Good guys. Oh, I thought you had Guggen's shirt on there. Good guys. Rod and Custom Association. Our pool. Here we go. Okay, what we're doing today, we had every intention of going out. Today was the day. I'll put some pictures in here. Show you a couple of things. We're not going to fight, so turn that around. What I'm doing instead, release it back here, is I'm going to pop that carburetor off and make sure it's good and clean. Inside there's a little tiny jet. Comes up right there. You can't hardly fit the head of a pin in it. It clogs up, and since we've got some downtime, I'm going to take this off and give it a real quick cleaning, so we'll be back. And what we need to do first is take this loose, and there's one reason, and that one reason is so we can get in, let's see, back in behind that spring. Got to get into that 1/2-inch nut. And you can't get into it without removing the pole starter. 5/16 wrench or socket. Going to need a wrench for this side because you can't get a socket down for the flywheel. I've been here before and I've cleaned this. So it ain't a big deal, but since we're down, that might be. That's never what I want to do. But anyway, since we're down for weather, like I said, I put these screenshots. I can't get my fingers down in there.
It's magnetized.
No, it's stuck in a groove. Anyway, since we're down for weather, today is the 2nd? Yeah. 2nd of July. See if I can spin that puppy up. There's kind of a key to do this. You got to hold your mouth just right and stand on one leg, do 2 pirouettes and a triple cross and a sow cow. Now you can see that I've done got my wrench up into the starter rotor there. This ain't going to work. So I'm going to have to tighten it back down. I didn't get it out of there in time before it cleared. Try it now. There we go. Then you got to go open end. This is a 1975 model. So it's all standard. No metric, no mix, nothing like that. I'm standing my foot under that drain. A little damp. Kind of moist. Once it gets loose, you can get a socket down on it, but then why would you want to? Because there we are. So we lay that out of the way and we get a 1/2-inch. I'll be right back. Anyway, go and get a 1/2-inch wrench, and you got to finagle it back in there to break that nut loose. Feels sticky like I'm bleeding. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Because you have to go different combinations and different grabs. Or you break out your needle nose. It's loose, pretty loose, you just can't get it finger tight. Well, I said it was, that's not cool. Did I say 1/2-inch? It's 7/16 actually. If you can get on it. Can't get that loose until you get the carburetor out, so you can wiggle it all out there. And see how close is she? Right there. Let's go with that. 7/16. I'm used to 1/2-inch on flat screwdriver. Be right. All right, there is a way. And I forgot, I'd done this in 2020, the spring of 2020. Let's take this little deal off here. Drop the washer in there like I always do. Let's see if we can give ourselves a little more clearance on the 7/16 nut. Take some tension loose on this one, and that one's finger tight. That one, there we go. I kind of spooled my starter rope out on the ground there. Not surprising.
Oh, is that what fell?
Yeah. But anyway, it's pretty tight quarters down in here. That nut sits right down in there, and you can't hardly reach it out. So let's see if we can get a good look at it. You got the one there, and the one down in there. I'm used to 1/2 inch nuts on the old carburetors. So we have also got, if you want to trade size there, go ahead. A little dinky Carter pin there. Got to pull out of the choke handle lever, and it is quite delicate. I lost it once, a long time ago. Had an awful time finding that thing. Now, see if I can rotate him up there and get a hold of it. Yeah, my needle nose might be overkill, but hey, go big or go home. Yeah, don't lose that little puppy. Push this pin out. Now, there's that. And we go ahead and back out this mixture thing out of the way, because that carburetor won't come out without that thing being all the way out. Now there's the carburetor, pretty dirty. The little plastic lever, okay. Don't look at my clamp, okay. Zip tie, don't pay no attention to my clamp. But now let me get it right, I'll be right back. I do not have a pair of wire cutters. I don't want to cut that one. I'll get this one. This one's going to be easier to put on when we get back to this. But anyway, let me come over there. I don't have a pair of cutters on me, I'll put it that way. So I will do this one, cut it, and just take the whole shebang here. Right there, right up in that part, and you'll see when I go to work on it, a tiny, tiny jet. If it's got the least bit of corruption in there, you're in trouble. I've been there before. So anyway, we'll be back when we go through this thing. We have plenty of red worms. We just need 2 crawlers, right?
I think we need red worms too.
Okay, we're getting, they're good and juicy looking. Getting one red worms and 2 things of night crawlers. Good and juicy and slimy. Looking to see if we did anything else for the boat for this trip. No. Just needs our butts in it and out on the lake. We tried these rod mounts. Boat was too thin to clamp to. You know, I don't have a double wall. So that didn't work, which left us here with these. And you've seen us mount those the other day. She's excited about that terminal lug, so we'll get a pack of these. Redo some other ones if need be. Don't need all them, but that's the way it comes. Well, we found a different pack with bigger lugs that will fit better. Nothing but that size. Don't have to fool with all that other stuff there that I didn't need. So here we go. This will work. Happy?
Happy.
I'm going to need one of those. Let's see if I can. Yeah, I'm going to need one of those. Get the sun out of it to where we can see some tracks maybe. But I need that. I want y'all to look. We go get the carburetor. We went to get some worms and some crawlers. And a thing of mix oil. She stumbled across that, was worried about that. But look what else we had to get. Chips, chocolate chip cookies. We got all day pain reliever. We're old. We need it. Had to have a few baked beans, some hot dog buns, bread, coffee, Band-Aids, water, some other medicine back there. Just had to have all this when we went after worms. But wait, there's more. I found the refrigerated bag here. Turkey breast, milk. I guess we're having meatloaf tonight.
Yeah.
What?
Yes, sir.
Sir, I like that. Yeah. She's learning. 40 years, she's learning finally. But yeah, just went for worms. And now here's the rest of it. This is to eat here at home for snacks, and this is what our picnic's going to be when we get out in the boat. Okay, we have the carburetor in the house. You had to wait till last. She had to get her belongings in first. But the carburetor's in. We're about to crack this open. Also, we picked up, or I did, a couple of new regulation books, 23, 24. We may have 22, 23.
Probably.
I like to stay up on these. I've got a collection and I always say that I'm going to peruse through them, see what's changed, what's different. And I do, in the winter and bad weather. That's something to read. I also have a service manual for this motor. Found it, I think, for $6 online, and I had to have it. It's just neat. We're not going to refer to this today. We don't need no stinking directions.
You've been in it before.
Yeah. But anyway, just in case. If there's something flies out of there that shouldn't be in there to begin with, I can look it up. But all right, here we go. All right, let's crack this puppy open. Regular flat screwdriver. I can't get a hold of it. Kind of small and down in there. There we go. It's loose. It just ain't coming out of the gasket readily and available. Rubber gasket, reusable, so that's a cool thing. Now if I stink her kitchen up here, she's going to have a fit. Back in 2020, starting in March, during the big shutdown. She wasn't here. She went over into Columbus to my daughter's to babysit the granddaughter. Which one they turned loose here? And anyway, the daycares and everything shut down, and it was too far to travel back and forth every day. And anyway, she wasn't here. We wasn't doing any fishing. She was gone Sunday night through Friday evening. She'd leave Sunday night and head over. You know, the hours involved and the distance involved prohibited travel back and forth. But anyway, I was here by myself. So I took that opportunity. I had an overhaul station set up here on the table in the dining room, and needle valve was there. And I had a charging station set up back in the bedroom, in her bedroom. Useless trivia, we don't sleep in the same room. We haven't since 2005. But anyway, I had the charging station set up in her room and everything, and we would scramble out and hit the lake on Saturday. That was the only day we had. But during those shutdown periods, you know, I took advantage of that opportunity and went through all my stuff. Kept everything charged, the batteries, done the carburetor, fuel pumps, different things like that. Well, she come home one Friday night, and I had the motor spread out on the table here. I had her bedroom wired for sound, you know, charging station and electronics and stuff. She didn't like that, and I had to cease that activity. It's not like she lived here. There was 3 months that she was gone Sunday evening through Friday evening. But that didn't suit her, and I had to stop that. But anyway, March, April, and May of 2020, until they reopened everything, you know, this was going on. So, like I said, I've been in here before, and I want to tell you, if you'll bring the phone over here, dear, camera, whatever you want to call it. Hold that light just up, right? All angle of the light. I commonly find a bunch of flakes in there, old dried up residue from that ethanol or whatever all they add in the gas today. I don't buy the regular leaded gasoline for it. I am impressed. Now, let's see if I can get, there is that jet. And hold it straight up. Now, it could be, have a little crud up in it, but there's that side jet that I was talking about. I've had problems with that before. Just some crud got on the outside of it there where it dips in before it gets into the actual channel, and it hung there. The motor wouldn't run without that focus. The motor wouldn't run without being full choke, and it barely ran then. I am highly impressed with how clean this carburetor is. This fall, I don't know when our last trip out in it was, in 2021, but it's set since the fall of 2021. You know, we didn't get it out last year. There's a lot going on. So I'm going to clean this. I'm going to spray it and everything. Make sure that jet's cleaned all the way through. It runs up through that channel there and into the venturi of the carburetor. Let's see. Probably won't be able to see it. Anyway, there's 4 holes back there that it goes into. They're pretty deep back in there. But anyway, they go up into that venturi, and it just will not run if that little bitty thing is clogged. That day that it done that, I used a needle. I'll come on and focus. And the point of a needle just fits in there. It's that small. So anyway, that's good. Everything's good down in there. I'm going to spray this out good. And whatever this cork thing is here, I'm really gentle on it. It's deteriorating. It's dried out. It's hard. It's brittle. A little bit of a seal, but it still seals the way it is. Now there's probably some crud that comes off of it through the course of the season. But I've not found that cork ring yet. So anyway, let me get this sprayed off and we'll be back. Well, I've took it out, hit it with the CARB cleaner, cleaned that jet out. It was wide open. This one's wide open. That's good and open. Comes over into here where the fuel inlet is. Yeah, the fuel inlet actually shows up on that one, but it also comes in there. Everything's good and clean. Ready to put back together. Fuel-wise, no debris in it. Everything's good down in there. The mixture set jet, whatever you call that, is good. Like I said, that's the cleanest I've seen this thing come apart. I do run it dry every fall when I do the winterization. I have opened it up and there's been some flaky garbage. Not a bunch, but enough. Floating around in that bowl. So, you know, the more I thought about this, the more I wondered, since it's sat so long, maybe I should tear this down. Well, never really got to it before we had plans. We was going out today. The weather and the forecast didn't work out, and that gave me an opportunity to tear into this. So we are good to go. I'll get this put back together and put it on the boat. I may or may not do just a quick video putting it back on, remounting it. But anyway, like I said, there's some screenshots of our weather and our forecast here, and we just decided not to try it today. Now, if we get caught out in the rain, that's one thing. You know, a good summer rain or even a storm, you know, we'll get back to the car and weather out a storm and hit it again if we're caught out in it. Now, we're not going to go out when we got severe weather warnings up like we do. We're not going. Yeah, it's just a ruination of a good day. You don't know what's coming at us. It is hot, it's humid, and it's muggy out there. You can tell something's brewing. You can feel it. You just walk outside and spray these off and you break out in a heavy sweat. It's so humid. Hot and humid. But hang on a minute, we'll be right back. Here is a tedious thing. Getting this float in, getting the check valve in, and hoping that it's... see, I dropped it. Okay, it's in the loop where it's supposed to be. Get it on the float. Get it set in that jet recess and the pin in. And the reason it's a challenge to me is I have a problem seeing. You know, they're talking about cataracts and stuff. They want to remove them, but we ain't doing it in the summertime in our prime time. So okay, there's the float. The check valve is in place under there. I don't know if you can see that or not, dear. Mm-hmm. Okay, anyway, check valve's in place. We're going to put this on. Hey, I got it right the first time. The orientation it needs to be. Good and clean, and like I said, that's the cleanest I've seen that bowl. I don't neglect this. I burn it dry every season. When we're done, I burn it dry. There's always seemed to be a little bit of residue in there of gas oil mix, and leave something, but I must have done a good job last year. Let's see. Now we set that in place. These screws are all the same length, so it don't matter which one goes where. What will matter is the tightening pattern. You want to go cross corners. We want to start about as center as we can get, and go opposite each other. You know, bring it down in a. That's enough for that. I could feel the other side wanting to lift a little bit, so we'll go to the opposite side and start it. Now this one. It's an odd number, so there's 5 of them, so it's not going to work out just right. We're just going to run them down to where they bite a little bit, give a little bit of pull. And that one's not wanting to, so we're going to loosen up here and resituate that gasket a little bit, wiggle it around. This one over here, and I just seen it drop in place. So we're going to get a thread on it. Probably the proper way is to get a thread on all of them, a couple of threads, a couple of turns, and then run them down. So, but we're not a certified ASE shop. The last car that I had a carburetor was a 77 Granada. So I've done some carb work. Before that I had 74 Nova. Wished I had either car back now. But used to doing a little bit of carb work. We're not going to, like I said, there's 5 of them. We're not going to get a good even cross pattern. So they're all run down. They've got a bit of a bite. We're going to tighten. Tighten. Go here next. Down here next. And here's that 5th one. So we'll start again. Make sure she's good and snug. 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 And there it is. You know, the gasket to the block, the intake, is good. I looked at that while I was at the boat, so I'm not going to replace that. It's a good Fail-Pro gasket. So I'm going to go with the same one. It's not damaged. It's going to seal up good again. So one more time here, we're just going to do that, 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 ooh, that, and that, and that's it. The gasket is done. Here's the choke plate. The regular plate's on back in there. Might see it on this end, but that's where you give it the throttle. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm holding it in the right place. I could clean that up, and I probably will. And like I said, we'll run that back in the mixture, lean and rich adjustment. Run it all the way in until it seats. Don't overseat that. You see me take it out. Don't overseat that and force it. Run it in until it seats. Back it out 5.5 turns. And that's the real good starting point to adjust your mixture. 5.5 turns, then this requires you be in a barrel or water or earmuffs or something. Then you can adjust the adjustment on that. But you run it in until it seats, back it out 5.5 turns. Will give you your start point. So, I am impressed. Well, like I said, in 2020, everything was replaced in this. The gasket, the float, the needle valve on the float, all of it. That's why I'm not excited. You know, this seal was replaced. What had happened, I was having that trouble with a condenser and I couldn't figure it out. It was intermittent, random, and only under a load. I was thinking something was floating around in here clogging up somewhere. So I started with this, the carburetor. Sure, that was it. Then that wasn't it. Went to the fuel pump. Okay, it's got to be the fuel pump, you know, the diaphragm in it acting up. It wasn't. Rebuilt the fuel pump. It took me all summer of 2020, to figure out what was up with it, and it was the condenser. Yeah, I'm used to condensers and everything. Poison condenser. So I started replacing all that and the coils. So everything is good in it, but like I said, you know, I've seen flaky, grungy stuff settle in this bowl even when you run it dry. Suck up into that little bit of a jet right there, and you got problems. So while we're down weather and we canceled the trip today, thought, now you've seen how quick it was to pop off there. It's just as quick to put back on. Just reverse process. We'll go ahead and pull that carburetor out, because the last thing I want to do is get it to ramp, get it in the water, pull that rope, and it don't run for crap. So since we're down for the day, this is an easy thing. You know, between this and the carb cleaner, a book that we don't need now. I had to have that. Like I said, this is a 75 model motor. You know, it's kind of vintage. But I thought I'd show that. You know, I don't need it for this. I've been here too many times. But I like this older stuff, and everybody says, why don't you have a bigger boat? I get to asked that a lot up here where we live now. There's a lot of lakes. We have Hoover Reservoir. We have that other big lake over there north of Columbus. We have Dillon State Park Lake, and we have Buckeye Lake. We really don't hit those because those are all what we call play lakes. I mean, you got boats out there, speedboats with twin 454 motors with the big chrome header sticking out the top. I've showed some of them on here before. Running back and forth as fast as they can. They must be lapping themselves or setting times. But anyway, those are the people with those sort of toys. They go out and play on those lakes. We hit the smaller lakes like Rush Creek and stuff. Now, the same holds true back down where we come from. Pretty much all the lakes, the only two within what I say is a driving distance, you know, that you don't want to spend all day driving to, was 10 horsepower limit. The rest of them was electric motor only or no wake, no gas engines. Right. And the beauty of our boat is, well, we really like that boat, is we can get in these shallow coves. You've seen on videos a water line on the stern with the battery, motor, fuel tank, all of it back there. We can get in these shallow coves and absolutely slay some fish where these bigger boats can't get. And why would I want a big bass boat with a 150, 200 horse motor and you can't use it? You know, that kind of kills me. I want one. Yes, I do. Actually, no, I don't. What I want is a pontoon boat. But you know, there's no sense in going all out with that sort of thing if you can't use it everywhere you go. Yeah, a day out on the water in a boat would be good on a pontoon boat, but I wouldn't want a big bass boat just to run laps from one end to the other on Buckeye Lake.
And the smaller pontoons.
Yeah, I'd like a small to medium pontoon. I don't want the big full size.
Right.
You know, same deal. We like to visit these quieter lakes. Not as much traffic. The fishing isn't overstressed. And it's like I said, you know, most of the time come dark, we're the only ones on Rush Creek Lake. There's more often than not, there's bank fishermen down there fishing around a ramp. That's where it's accessible by foot. But getting on about dusk and dark, we're the only ones on that lake. We got the run of it. We can hit anywhere that the fish are biting. And one thing that I did think of, we're going to have to rescout that lake this year. You know, we was gone for a year. Them fish may have moved. Our favorite holes may not be that productive. But that's the fun of it. We'll hit a raw and we'll figure it out again.
Absolutely. Yep.
But we was going today. Again, here's our weather prediction from the sheriff's office. We're not going to head out with this coming, knowing it's coming. Now, if we're out, we get caught in the rain or a storm, you know, we'll shelter it out or we'll don the ponchos. Here's a picture of her in a poncho. You know, we'll ride her out, you know, if we're out in it. But if there's some severe weather coming, we're not going to head out in it. And I feel a lot better knowing that little tiny jet right there is open. Like I said, it goes up into 4 little holes in the top of that venturi. And this thing don't run. It don't like to run at all with that jet clogged up. That little teeny tiny thing that'll just barely accept the point of a needle. So I feel a lot better, you know, when we hit that ramp, this thing's going to start right up and we're going to head down the lake. You'll see the video of that because, you know, it'll be a gleeful thing and I'm going to gloat. She's going to be up there in her boat clothes and just that big grin on her face. But Tuesday, the 4th, we're going down the 4th. And give you a heads up what's going on here since today delayed, canceled, whatever. We have an event for Masonic Lodge. We give away free hot dogs and bottles of water for the village, for all the attendees in the village, you know, that's watching the parade that wants a hot dog or two and some water. We got that. The parade starts at 11. It's going to be over around noon. You know, we're going to clean up. All right, call it 2. Time we get done cleaning up and socializing and having a hot dog or two ourselves, if there's any left. We always run out, usually. But we're going to head to the lake, which is just 12 miles past where I go to lodge here in Thornville. It's 30 miles from home, from here where we live, to the lake. Yeah, the time we get down into Thornville from Newark, you know, the lake's only 11 or 12, something like that. So we're just going to put it off tomorrow. We're going to kick back and enjoy ourselves, eat some food. But on the 4th, now we've spent the 4th every year somewhere on the water except for last year. It's going on this year. Yeah, in one of our videos in 2021, you know, we had fireworks going off all around us on the lake down there.
It was awesome.
We're going to be real close, if not a full moon, on the 4th. So it's going to be a good night. Now watch. It'll be raining 3 inches every 30 minutes or some kind of storm like that. So, but anyway, we're not going to put this back on. Just giving you some insight of where things are and the plans here. I've wanted out before. The weather ain't been right. We've been down in the 40s at night until a week and a half ago. You know, the 40s ain't cold, but we're summer people. We really are. Carburetor set, everything else is set on the boat, batteries charged. We'll see you all sometime after Tuesday. Time we get home, we're going to spend a while on that lake. It's going to be the first time back in a while, and we're going to enjoy it. We're just going to waller in our own ignorance. We're going to catch fish. We're going to eat food. We're going to have a good day of it. So, until then, everybody, we will see you then.